What are we going to do now is to create the CRUD methods with the use of parameters, which is safe for SQL injection. Then additional will be the search and the refresh of data in our data grid view. So first, before going to our project, I hope you already know the basic syntax in our CRUD operation. So let's go back first to our SQL server, to our SQLExpress. Let's connect our database. We have here from our previous video the table. Let's create a new query. Select asterisk from TBL users. So I hope you already have the knowledge for the basic operation, for the basic CRUD operation SQL. Well, if you don't, let's have a quick review. We have here a table, user. So first, the CRUD operation. We have the CRUD, which is create, update, read. Well, read is for select stress from, so, and delete. So the basic first for create is the syntax is to insert into table the column and the values. So you must know what are the basic, which is this table, the column you are going to update, example username, password, email, username, password, name, and email. Then if you want to place the value in your insert, that's the insert. So we create a name, Joe. Password is Joe at 123. The name is Joe Jackson. Joe Panda. Had a black eye. Joe Panda. Then email of Joe is joe at gmail.com. This is the basic syntax for our SQL create and the CRUD operation. Insert into table and the values. Insert into table the columns you are going to provide. Then the values. Let's execute that one. Execute. We have one row affected. Let's check this one. This is read. Execute. There you go. Joe. 1, 2, 3, Joe Panda, Joe Gmail. So that is the insert. This for create method. Next, we have the update. So for update, syntax, that is update the name of table. Let's update the whole column. Username, password, name, email, and always remember what is the primary key to update. So let's update Joe, which is 3. The primary key is 3 from Joe. So email. So let's say Joe has changed his username. It was now Joanna. Joanna. He's changed the password to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he's still Joe X Panda. The email is expanda at gmail.com. There you go. So that's the syntax for update. You can highlight that one or execute. Let's check this one. There you go. Joe has now changed to Joanna. Password Joanna expanda at gmail.com. So that is for the syntax of update. Now delete syntax. Well, it's as simple as delete syntax. How to delete? First, the syntax for delete is delete from name of table. Then always remember what is the target of your delete. So now we're deleting the row record 3 for Joanna. That is delete. What will happen if you delete table users? It will delete all records in your table. So it's safe always to check if you are deleting a target, a specific row. So I'm doing to delete the specific row, which is PK ID equals to 3. It's Joanna. Delete, execute. One record rows affected. So when you read again, Joanna was deleted. So that's it for our basic syntax in CRUD operation. Now, let's use this CRUD operation in our project. Okay, so let's go back to our project. As you remember from our from our lesson 2, this is the table. So let's create a more professional form. Let's remove this one. So first, let's create a button for our users, to manage our users. So let's say that's the simple button here. Let's name this one as manage users. Let's add some name. Okay, now let's create another form for our users management. Here we go. We have now the form our users. Here you go. Okay. As from our previous, we need to the data grade view. Let's have some. Border style none. Just doing something efficient. Let's prepare this one for our future use. Search. Okay, we have here a button to add user. There you go. Now first, let's go one. Let's call the form FRM new FRM manage user FRM that let's show show dialog. Let's run the project. There you go. Manage user. This is the manage user. Now let's go back to our manage user. Already done with that. Let's add a form. Let's create a form for adding the user. Let's name this one form user add. The simple form. Single. So let's call that one var frm as new frm user add. FRM that's show dialog. That's one FRM show dialog. Okay. So let's place the button, the text box. We have the username. You have user for 4 fields. We have 4 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. The username name. It's oh no. Let's place this one name. Okay, let's name the boxes txt name for our mapping, txt email, txt username, txt password. So first, before going to our saving, txt password, save. Okay. For our safety, let's validate the text box. Its field has been inputted. So let's create a simple statement if txt name text equals to not equal to, which is blank, return, so that it will not continue. Then let's have a message box that show please input name. There you go. Let's copy that for others. Txt name, txt email is required, txt username, txt password. So let's change this one to email. That's your name. Okay, a class to save so that we have a clean coding style. It creates here a class which only for our saving purposes. So let's create a class here, saver. So this is the saver. So let's create add user. Yeah, I let's create me some boolean so that we can check if it's true or false where our saving is success or right. So saver user save new user first so that we have a high proficiency. Let's create first the model for our user. So let's name this app user. Hit the model. The model for our user is this username. We have the name. We have the primary key, which is the P key ID. State this one ID. Email, username, password. So we have the model for our user. We have the app user model. We have the error handler. Error handler is false. Then let's message that one. I don't want to type. Let's copy this one. There you go. So save user if it's false. Okay. So how are we going to do it? We need a connection. If you remember our previous my server, there we have here the connection. We already have here the connection. So we can do this one var svr is equals to new my server. Then svr var con is equals to new SQL connection. is vr dot connection string. Command which is for, let's open the connection. Insert into the name of the table and the column and the values. The column is name, email, username, password, then the values. So since we are using the SQL command and we want to be safe for any SQL injection, we will use a parameter. Let's do this one. This is safe rather than SQL concatenation. That one. Insert into table user, name, email, username, password, values at name at email at username, password. Command type was to text. Then we need to have the parameter cmd.parameters that add with value is the model that name. And there for our parameter at name, so we have 4 values, which is at email, at username, and at password. Then cmd at execute and query. There you go. If it's a success, it's return. If it's successful, return true. There you go. Let's do that one. Insert in table user, name, email, username, password, values, then the parameterize. It's more readable and clean with the use of SQL command. Save new user. We already have the method to save new user. And let's go back to our form. There you go. Now let's create a model here. Model. Let's cause a new app user. Var result is equals to saver that save new user, which is model. Now let's place the value for a model, which is txt name.txt. We have the email, username, password, txt email, txt username, txt password. There you go. So we have the model. Then we pass it to our method to save the new user. It will return a value which is true or false. So if before it close, successfully save. Then I want the form to return a value from our previous form so that it will refresh the grid. It will display the latest of grid from the grid. So to do that, I will just add a property here on the form. Let's um, let's say success. So from our previous form, call the add user, we're going to display the grid. Now, we want to reuse the grid refresh. So I'm going here to create a method refresh grid. If you remember that our server, then I need a data table. It's a new data table, which is we are from our server, which is to get the data. If you remember that one, first our data grid, it should be map grd users. Then it's in the form load, refresh the data. Now to our add user, since it will use dialog, we can do this one. If form that success equals true, another one in our statements equals true, then refresh the form, the grid. We forgot to add before close, which is success is equals to true, so that it will refresh. Let's let's try that again. Okay, add user, we have Nora, Nora, Nora. Save. There you go, Nora. Now, the next step is to update the data from our database. So we already have the add user. Next, we're going to create update. Click to the events, row header click, row header mouse click, or it can be row header mouse double click. So let's go for double click. There. First, before we update, we need first to get our data. The data. So I'm going to fill a model. Again, model is equals to new app user. Model that ID is this one. So since it's said need to convert to integer, model that email and password. It can be simplified. Okay, so we have here now the user. So we're going to update that. So we're going to create a form for user updates. FRM user update. Let's we have the user add. Let's copy this one. Oh, yeah, we have the to cancel. We have the rights to cancel. No, accept button so that we can save cancel button. Cancel button is cancel. Okay, we're going to pass a model from one form to another form. So how are you going to do that? Let's just put some property here. What was the name of our model? It was app user. This is the model. Then on load, let display the data. So txt name is equals to txt name dot text is equals to model dot name. Txt email, txt username, txt password. So email, username, password. Let's put some. Where's the properties window? The I did not add the. There you go, password guard. Okay. So now we have here the modify user. So how are you going to do? Let's go back to the grid where to pass now. Or frm is equals to new frm user update. As you remember, we have here the model. Let's pass the model. frm that show dialog. Okay, there you go. So now let's check. Manage user. Let's Mike. There you go, Mike. Blank is username. We did not add the username. So I'm checking where was the username. There you go. Now we have displayed the data from grid to another form. Again, let's copy the validation from our previous form. There you go. Since we have here from our previous form, You just need to replicate that one. Tower update. There you go. TXT name, email. Then next we're going to create the update version of our method. So now we need to create the update. So let's copy this one. For our update, same format, but it's now update user. So let's change this one. Update TBL users. Update TBL users. Set, as I told you, name. We can do that at name, email. So at email, username is equals to at username. Password is equal to at password. Where PKID is equals to at ID. So now you have a new parameter which is at ID, which is, so that is the changes here in our update. Same query. When we go back, as you before, we don't have the ID here in update, but we have here the ID on our model. Just place ID is equals to model that ID. There you go. So it's this the new model. Again, same with the user add. Let's copy this one. It's now update user. Successfully saved. So again, for a refresh to our grid view at the back, let's create this bool. Success equals to false again. There you go. So there you go, sir. Let's go back to our manager. When you update the grid, it should refresh. If FRM, that's success, it equals to true. If it's true, refresh the grid. What was the yeah, there you go. If it's true, refresh the grid. Test. Save. There you go. See test. 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Now let's add for the delete. Now let's go to the simplest way. To our mod, to our forms. I will add another button. It will be just place here the delete file, the delete. Then let's ask first var result is equals to confirm mailbox that show. Are you sure? Need yes, record. the result, but if equals to yes, then let's delete the file. So let's go back to our saver. Another method, delete user. Let's copy first this one, change this to delete user. You can pass model, or let's go for the primary key. So again, delete from TBL users or PKID, because PKIDs. Delete user from table users where PKID at ID, which is the ID of pass. Then saver that delete user. We have the model that ID. Let's if true, successfully deleted. Success true. It will refresh the data in our grid. Let's try this one. Let's go for test. Delete. Are you sure you want to delete this record? Yes, successfully deleted. Now for additional, let's create a search when text change, or let's add a button to search. For searching, I need a button here to search. Let's name this one search. Search. So this one is txt search. Now let's go to the button for the txt search. So you can see here now, refresh grid. This is the search actually. So how are we going to do that? I hope you know how to search or how to query in our table. So this is the basic syntax. Select from table users where, let's check for the name. Name, like Nora. There you go, Nora. Bet. It search with the contents bet. Search text. Okay. Now we want search with safe SQL injection query. We're going to reform the refresh grid. So I'm just going to add here the txt search.text. There you go. So let's go to get data here. Now, the best way for that, this is my additional tip. I will create a stored procedure. So I hope this is an additional learning to you. I'm going to create a script procedure here. sp search user. Let's begin and go. So this is the basic syntax of this procedure. Then in our body, let's place the query. Then I need the parameter, the criteria. This is safe. Let's go for 100, yeah. Then Let's do that one. There you go. Create the procedure. Let's test the procedure. Execute the procedure. Exec procedure, which is I'm going to search for bet. There you go, bet. Nora. The advantage of stored procedure is you are using a parameter. Now, as you can see in our query, we can still expand that query on a username or username like search. Let's alter. So now it will look for a name or a username like Nora. From our previous table, from our previous data, let's check. Now, you're right. We have a username Betso and Bitso stream. What if I'm looking for stream? There you go. Or you can also add the email if you want to expand the search range. Update that one with only one parameter. There. So how are you going to use this one? As simple as this. String, the format. You put exec. I need to have the value. Then the search text. The search text needs to be saved. Let's replace the single quote to double quote for our safety only. Now let's try searching in our project. Stream Nora all. So there you go. Thank you for watching my video.